In this video tutorial, I want to share with you how to format the axis of any given chart that you've designed or you have plotted, and you want to play around with the axis properties, edit it, maybe change the text, change the numbering format, and change the coloration and so on. So let's try to say we want to create a simple chart from this given data, from the names of persons and the sales they've made over time. And let's say we select everything and we want to plot a curve from this. So we select the data and we come to insert, and let's say we are inserting a bar chart. We just click on a column chart, and let's say we're inserting just a normal 2D chart, and we can see it just gives us the axis, the cells, and the names of the people. The names, their sales, the amount of sales they've made, and the other details. Okay, sales as a title, and then we have the axis over here. So we can customize the axis of any given chart by mere double clicking on the axis. So even though you have the chart design format over here, you can switch rows and columns, you can select given data, you can change its chart type, and do so many things as regard the chart styles from here, which we have explained in previous video. But for this tutorial, we want to focus on the chart axis format, how to format the axis. So select the axis and then we just double click it to bring in the format axis toolbar over here, and you can see quite a number of things that you can check. Like this is the vertical axis. You can see the arrangement. It separates the intervals between one axis value to another is 2000, from 2000 to 4000 to 6000 to 8000. So the difference is 2000. Okay, so you can change that difference, assuming you don't want it to start from 2000, you want it to start maybe from 3000 or 4000 or thereabout. The major difference is 2000. Okay, start from zero, and the maximum is 12,000. You can make the maximum to be maybe less than 12,000, because when you look closely at the table, you can see the maximum is 10,000. So maybe you want to keep it at maybe 11,000 or 10,005. So let's say we want to double click at the maximum and make it 10,500, and just hit on enter, and you can see it has just quickly adjusted the table so that it minimizes the overall area size of the chart. And then we can come to the major. So right now it's set to 2000. You can see the increment, and the smallest one is 500. You can see because we have this small size, the first one is about 1500. So you can start, maybe you can make it to be 3000. You can make it to be 3000 so that you can see you can make it shorter. If you make it 3000, it becomes shorter. Or maybe if you want to see the details, you can make it maybe an incremental of 500. All right, and you hit on enter, and you can see the details just like so. So depending on what detail or how much information you want to pick, you can decide to play around with it. So maybe you can make it 1.5 to make it a little bit clear and visible and with more data, so you can easily read the data around. So this is the horizontal data. You can play around with the minus increment also. You may want it to start at, not start at 0. Maybe you want it to start at a given value, maybe from 500. You can start at 500 if you want. You can adjust, and the table will start at 500 because the minimum value is 1500. Okay, so you can start at 500 for clarity, so you don't have to see the negative value as well. So next is you can have the horizontal axis. You can play around with this, the display of units. You can just kind of check around and see display units none, because right now it's just names that we have on the horizontal axis. And then you can check the tick marks. Right now we selected none because the type of chart that we've selected is a bar chart, so it doesn't have tick marks. You can check the levels over here next to the axis. Right now it's set to next to the axis because this is where it is, next to the axis. You can check it, make it to be low, high, or none. Okay, if you click on none, it's going to go, and if you click on next to the axis, you're going to see it appear back again. Okay, so you have the number option. You can check around and you can see different number. You have it to be 2 decimal places separated. You can see accounting. You can make it fraction. You can make it number, normal currency. You can make it text or special, and you can play around with the decimal places. Right now it's set to 2. We can make it 1, and once we hit on enter, you can see it has just quickly adjusted. Then we can play around with the symbols, and then here we can check the dollar sign. Can edit it and make it any currency of your choice, depending. Maybe you can make it Kanuri sign. You can see it has just changed. You can link to source if you want, and then you have the basic alignment, and you can have the text features also from here. You can play around with the coloration. Right now it's set to solid fill. You can make it to gradient fill, you can see it, or you can make it solid fill, but then you can insert the coloration from here and make it something like this color, and you can see it's becoming clearer. And you can do the same. You can play around with the shadow effect, reflection effect. You can check out the shadow effect, transparency or thereabout. You can make it transparent or thereabout. You can increase or decrease the sizing of the size of the transparency, the angle, the blur effect, as well. Play around with all this to kind of have an idea of how it's going to give you, what effect is going to give you in your data. So you can check out the glow option, the reflection option. You can play around with all these features, and you can come to the text features, the text box feature, and play around with it. Right now it's set to middle and center. You can make it top, bottom, and you have other options, middle centered, bottom centered, and so on. And you have the text direction. Right now it's set to horizontal. You can play around with the direction, rotate all 90 degrees, rotate all text 270 degrees, and you can make it stacked also if you want. So feel free to kind of try it. You can put custom angle if you want to rotate it to any angle of your choice. You can see the preview. You're free to rotate it, or you can bring it back to normal, and then it's going to show depending on what kind of aesthetics you're trying to bring. So the same thing happens to the horizontal axis. Once you double click on it, you can it brings in the options, the text features. Okay, so you have the option to play around with the other features as well. So you can play around with the text options and the coloration. You can change the coloration to something like maybe green, and then you can play around with the other transparency features. Okay, you can make it transparent or less transparent depending. You can bring in the glow effect as well as the other text box effect. So it all depends, it all boils down to you. What kind of effect do you want, and what kind of changes do you want to see as regards the axis title? But this is the easiest way to have access to the axis and play around with them to edit them accordingly and make them look professional for your content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.